You are listening to the IoT For All Media Network.
Welcome, Harriet. Thanks for taking some time today to chat with me. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This will be a fun, quick conversation. I think our audience will get a lot of value out of. Let's start off by having you give a quick introduction about yourself. Just tell us a little bit about your background experience and also your role at ABI.
Sure. So, as I said, I'm Harriet Sumnall. I'm one of the research analysts on the IoT, IoE, and M2M team, more specifically on the hardware and devices IoT service. So, I've been at ABI for 3 years now, and my most recent project has been the module model database for IoT cellular connectivity.
Okay.
Um, And to be fair, it's going to be a constant ongoing thing with lots of updates planned.
Well, connectivity is a big deal for obviously IoT, but tell us a little bit more about what that module model database is and kind of the reason it's a focus for you all.
Yeah, sure. So the database itself covers over, I think it's 53, but it's definitely over 50 different module vendors
Mhm.
within the IoT space, specifically for the cellular modules. Um, and what it does is it breaks down its technology summary. So which technologies does that individual module model allow for connectivity with,
Sure.
any extra other information, including launch dates, when we've noticed that it's become out of market, when we've noticed as a company when it's gone into market. We've been working on it for about 2 years now,
Mm.
but it's only just kind of thought, you know what, we find it really useful, so other people may find it useful. So it was decided to make it into a product. So it was quite fun to finalize everything and
Okay.
just finish it all up. But it was a major focus for us because it was interesting to see how the vendors are adapting their portfolios as the technology migration happens. So
Oh,
obviously
okay.
2G and 3G sunsetting, so they aren't as prevalent in their portfolios anymore.
Right.
Um, but 4G's modules are the ones that are taking up a huge chunk of the portfolios. It's just
Right.
interesting to see what the vendors are doing in regard of which technologies they're kind of focusing on and which application segments they're also kind of enabling to get themselves into.
So let me ask then, what are you all seeing as why 4G is still so popular? I'm sure it has a lot to do with the sunsetting of 2G, 3G, as well as maybe 5G not being potentially where it was either expected or just hasn't gotten to where it's promised yet? Or kind of how do you like what is the kind of take from that?
So basically, it's 4G has been around for quite some time. The infrastructure has all been in place, and therefore there's worldwide coverage, there's longevity there, and that's what we need for IoT. It's not necessarily the newest thing that's up and coming, unlike consumer
Sure.
like phones and such. So that's the main reason as to why 4G has kind of taken the role in IoT that it has.
Gotcha. And are there any particular use cases that you kind of have seen 4G kind of gravitate to leading and kind of being more suited for as opposed to maybe not being as suited for?
So sure, we follow specifically actually by technology type. So
Okay.
application segments which we've seen it in, especially like taking up a large chunk of the market, is asset tracking, OEM telematics, and stuff like that, like along that type of wavelength.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess a good question or good thing to kind of talk about just high level for some of our audience is how does 4G connectivity kind of stack up to the rest of the connectivity landscape, with LPWAN and other types of technologies that are out there? Where does kind of how would you kind of talk about the landscape as a whole?
Sure. So I guess, especially in comparison for this product has kind of given us a lot of highlights about cellular connectivity. So specifically there, especially for LPWA, NB-IoT is doing great things in China,
Hmm.
but the network rollouts still aren't taking place worldwide. So
Okay.
for example, for an OEM who'd like connectivity worldwide, that's not going to be a suitable option. 4G
Sure.
is going to be that option because of the fact that it is they've got worldwide coverage. Um, and similar with LTE-M. So in that sense, even just from looking at our database, you can tell that there is a lot more support there for 4G in comparison at this moment in
Mhm.
time for the likes of 5G as well as LPWA, and obviously 2G and 3G are sunsetting. So
Yeah, I think the nice thing about understanding the landscape of connectivity from end to end of it is it provides a lot of possibilities for companies to find the right connectivity for their use case, for their application, to not just efficiently have that work correctly, but also from a cost perspective as
Mm.
well.
Oh no, sure. IoT obviously is the main reason for IoT is connecting things
Right.
to make sure that it's going to be more efficient, both time and cost. That is another reason as to why 5G hasn't quite
Mm,
hit off where it probably should be, because of the
sure.
fact that 5G is that all the hardware is still so expensive in comparison to
Mm,
4G, and it
right.
doesn't necessarily at this moment offer the same as what 4G can do for that similar price. The only thing
Mm,
5G is currently enabling for the IoT is things that 4G wasn't able to. So that's the
okay.
niche of 5G.
Gotcha. So that actually ties into a question I wanted to ask you, which is kind of 4G versus 5G. Like, how would you like explain that to somebody who's just kind of curious what the extra G is in a sense? 4G versus 5G. What's the difference? And you kind of already talked about a few of these points, but just maybe elaborate on why 5G really hasn't taken off as much as maybe people expected it to. It's been kind of promised as the next thing for IoT for many years, or maybe at least 2 years, and we've definitely seen it driven more on the consumer side, like you've already said. But just at a high level, the difference between the two, and then also maybe why 5G is not where some people maybe expected it would be.
Yeah, sure. So I guess for 5G to be working at the same level as 4G and IoT, as previously just said, it needs to be offering the exact same things as what 4G can do at that worldwide coverage. The 5G
Sure.
networks haven't realistically all been released and rolled out yet. So that is going to be one thing that is causing a slowdown. Also, standardization's not quite finished, it's not quite there yet. Um, so, I mean, I believe the next release from the 3GPP is due to be frozen either June or by the end of this year,
Okay.
which will then start kind of really pushing 5G within the IoT space. However, until that is done, the vendors that are making all of the hardware to put into the devices so that they can be connected, they don't know what they're supposed to be making sure that those devices can do.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. And you also mentioned the cost piece to it, and for some use cases, 5G may be potentially overkill
Mm.
for the use case.
Oh no, definitely. Some application use cases don't require constant,
Right.
I guess, connectivity 24/7, sending those data messages all the time. I mean, most of the LTE modules are either from category 1 to category 4, which are quite
Mm-hmm.
slow in comparison. So, but they're the modules that are doing the job. 4G is doing the
Sure.
job for IoT at the moment. And at this moment in time, yes, 5G is great. However, I don't think it's going to be kind of at that level where people are expecting it still until it's really, really matured and for
Okay.
the price points to come down.
And how do you see 4G and 5G kind of fitting together once 5G infrastructure is built out and has more coverage? The prices probably come down a little bit, and it's rolled out in a more kind of wider range. How do you kind of see 4G and 5G playing together?
So currently, I guess the likes of 2G and 3G, whilst they're still here, they fall as a fallback for 4G
Okay. Okay.
and some LPWA technologies. Where so we see that 4G is going to do the same thing eventually, but up until that point where it makes sense for IoT to kind of transition, that transition will be really organic. And until that point, 4G will still be leading the way. But as you say, when 5G does get to that point, 4G will very much be a fallback, except from where you've got the private networks that are purely
Mhm.
5G deployments.
Makes a lot of sense. And the last question I wanted to ask you before I let you go here is, what does the future of the connectivity landscape kind of look like from your side of things, or what have been kind of the thoughts, the projections on kind of where this is going?
So I guess from my viewpoint, especially in regard of the modules, as that's where I'm focusing on, I suspect that we will see a lot more LPWA technology modules
Okay.
coming out, NB-IoT more specifically, in my view. Um, However, 5G, of course, will be on the radar. It is I don't foresee it happening at a rapid rate.
Okay. Great. Well, like I mentioned before, this will be a quick conversation. I really appreciate your time. I wanted to just kind of provide some timely updates for our audience around what's going on in the cellular space with 4G. The report you all put out, I think, is great. Something our audience can definitely check out. If people want to kind of stay up to date on the things that you're putting out, the company's putting out, what's the best way to kind of do that?
I would probably suspect going onto our website and seeing
Okay,
what's available. And I believe there is a part on the website in which they can make inquiries and such. Um,
fantastic.
so yes, but regarding this module database, it's a biannual product, so the next release is due by the end of Q1.
Awesome.
So
Well, we
yeah,
look forward to seeing that.
yes, so I look forward to being published. I'm really excited about the product, to be fair.
Absolutely. Well, Harry, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing these insights with our audience. It's been great.
No, not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for watching the IoT For All Media Network. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell notification so you get our latest videos as soon as they become available. But other than that, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.